What is up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today we are starting with Magomed Ankalaev calling out Alex Pereira. Last night Magomed went on X and called out Alex for wanting a rematch during Ramadan again. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Magomed said the following. Breaking news. Alex is asking to fight me during Ramadan again. I need more time. The other clown needs to do his homework. Let me fight Carlos. I think he is more dangerous than all of them. If Magomed comments are correct and Alex really wants the rematch during Ramadan, then we likely will not see Alex Pereira fight until February 2026. That seems very unlikely since Pereira probably will not sit out that long. Renato Moicano breaks silence on UFC loss to Beneil Dariush. Renato Moicano spoke out following his loss to Beneil Dariush and shared his thoughts on the fight.
Thank you so much for the support. Tonight was not my night. I got a little bit tired, but Dariush executed a very good game plan on the second round. He took me down. I need to get way better on the takedown defense. But it is what it is, you know. I have to get back to the gym training. I know it's all both. Everything that I will say, like, nobody cares. But I'm just trying to say that I'm healthy, I'm good, and thank you for the support. I need to get back. I need to get better.
Jon Jones reacts to Tom Aspinall PD comments. If you thought the drama between Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones was over now that Bones is retired, it looks like that may not be the case. After the UFC and Jones officially confirmed that the legendary fighter has hung up the gloves, Aspinall traveled to Vegas this week to meet with UFC executives. While in Nevada, the heavyweight champion also sat down with Ariel Helwani. During the interview, the topic of Jon Jones being the greatest of all time came up. Aspinall and Helwani discussed the fact that Jones tested positive for banned substances during his career and both agreed that this disqualifies him from being considered the GOAT. Aspinall then went on to share his thoughts about fighters who have failed drug tests and how that impacts their legacy.
For example, you do 100 meters and you take PEDs and you win a race, you become faster than people who are not taking PEDs from that. That's okay. You're a cheat, you've won, they'll take your title off you or whatever. If your job is to hurt another person, physically hurt another person, which could potentially redirect the rest of their life post-fighting, you're an absolute piece and you should never be able to fight again. If you have any PED stuff, like, it's like taking a gun to a knife fight. You know what I mean? It's like taking a knife to a bare knuckle fight. Like, how can you look yourself in the mirror when you know that you're cheating and you could potentially damage the other person for life? Like, it's
Before Aspinall comments reached Jon Jones, he responded on social media with a strong message. Jones wrote, "You silly goose, I never knowingly took anything, the evidence is all there. That is why I was able to fight again and why the rules were changed for everyone across all sports. Call me the game changer." It should be noted that in 2014 Jones was flagged for the anabolic agent turinabol and his win over Daniel Cormier was overturned. Jones and his team have always maintained that he never knowingly took any banned substance. Now the question is, what do you think about Aspinall comments? Should Jon Jones be removed from the GOAT conversation because of his history with USADA? And if so, who do you believe is the greatest of all time? As Dana White reacts to Jon Jones' comments, Dana was asked about the situation this week. According to Jones, he told the UFC back in November that he planned to retire, but the promotion continued pushing for a fight with Aspinall. During the UFC 317 post-fight press conference, Dana White was asked to clarify Jones' claims and responded by saying he does not know.
I don't know, did you see his series of tweets over the last few days inferring that basically he told you guys that he was retired last November and that your efforts to make the Aspinall fight were basically futile?
It's not true. Is that what you wanted to ask me?
Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. But what do you make of him coming out and saying saying contrary to what you've said there?
I don't know. I'm telling you the truth. Believe who you want to believe.
Dana White not impressed with Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan successfully made weight to serve as the backup fighter for the lightweight title fight at UFC 317. However, that does not mean he is guaranteed a shot at the lightweight championship. Many believe Tsarukyan has been in the UFC doghouse since January, when he withdrew just hours before his scheduled fight against Islam Makhachev at UFC 311. The reason given at the time was a back injury. Despite being the #1 contender, Dana White later announced that Tsarukyan would not be next in line for a title fight. Following Friday's weigh-ins, Dana White spoke with Helen Yee. He was asked whether Tsarukyan making weight as the backup for the Ilia Topuria vs Charles Oliveira fight meant he would be next for the belt.
Weight cut was good, was easy, and I never have an issue with the weights. And everybody thinks like what happened in California because of weight cut. I was good with my weight, and I just hurt my back, and I couldn't move. That's why I couldn't cut my weight. And now, if UFC say like you have a fight next month, so I'll take it as well. Maybe if they say me like you want to be back up again, and if there is a chance that someone gonna pull out.
Dana White has said this before, and because Tsarukyan has not fought since April of 2024, the response was not very surprising. It has now been over a year since his last fight. After successfully making weight for the backup position, Tsarukyan also spoke with Sportsnet. During that interview, the lightweight contender said he is willing to make weight again to serve as the backup for the July 19th fight between Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway.
Arman Tsarukyan weighing in as the backup. Is he getting back in the good graces with you and the...
Well, it's not about getting back in the good graces. It's about, the guy had the opportunity to fight for a title and didn't make weight. It's just, you couldn't f up anything worse than that. But he proved, now that he's not fighting for the title, and he was here as a backup fighter, he made weight. So it's definitely a step in the...
Tsarukyan is clearly itching to fight, but it does raise the question of whether making another weight cut to 155 on such short notice is the smartest move. Helen Yee also spoke with Paddy Pimblett during fight week. Paddy was asked if he believes Tsarukyan is the most deserving fighter of a title shot. The outspoken lightweight responded by saying that a few months ago he would have agreed, but things have changed. Paddy explained that after Tsarukyan started talking about him, he no longer believes he deserves the shot. He added that Tsarukyan should sit and wait and win another fight before earning a title opportunity. Pimblett also said that if Ilia wins, he would not be surprised if they end up fighting next, but ultimately those decisions are not up to him. He said it is up to Dana White, Hunter Campbell and Sean Shelby to decide what happens next. Later during the UFC 317 post-fight press conference, Dana White was asked about Tsarukyan again. During that exchange, Dana revealed that Tsarukyan actually missed weight for his scheduled fight against Islam Makhachev at UFC 311 and went on to explain his side of the situation.
Now, we saw Paddy Pimblett come in there. If you were to fight Paddy Pimblett, do you think that might be at a different weight division? Because he looked like a heavyweight in there. What was going through your mind when Paddy Pimblett stepped in the octagon?
Heavyweight, he's that little pimple. He's fat. He's not someone that looks big because he has that muscle. It's because he's very undisciplined. ¿Cómo es undisciplined? Fat.
What was going through your mind in the octagon when he walked in? Did you think it might get physical?
I saw fear in his eyes, and the eyes never lie.
So will Arman Tsarukyan fight for the belt next? And if Arman is not getting a title shot, who do you want to see him face next? Now let us talk about what is next for Alexander Pantoja after his UFC 317 win. Alexander Pantoja still has a long road ahead if he wants to reach Demetrius Johnson's historic record of 11 title defenses. However, the Brazilian champion is already building a strong case as one of the greatest flyweights of all time. At UFC 317, Pantoja faced Kai Kara-France for the second time, and this time he secured a finish. Their first meeting took place on The Ultimate Fighter in 2016, where Pantoja earned a decision win. This time Pantoja dominated the fight and secured a rear naked choke submission in round 3 after repeatedly taking Kara-France down. After the fight, Pantoja was asked about potentially facing Joshua Van, who defeated Brandon Royval earlier in the night. Van entered the octagon and faced off with the champion. Because the UFC allowed that moment, it strongly suggests Joshua Van will be next in line for a title shot. As for Kai Kara-France, it will be interesting to see what comes next. He had lost 2 of his last 3 fights before UFC 317, and some fans questioned his title opportunity. However, Pantoja's dominance and lack of options made the matchup necessary. Kara-France entered the fight ranked 4th and will likely be matched with a top 5 opponent next. Still, after going 2-3 in his last 5 fights, there is speculation he may be transitioning into a gatekeeper role. What do you think? Who should Kai Kara-France fight next? And do you believe Joshua Van can end Pantoja's reign? Now for UFC updates. The UFC is returning to Shanghai, China on August 23rd. Dana White recently revealed that Chinese officials will take him on a tour while he is there. Speaking with Helen Yee, Dana said he will visit the Shaolin Temple, the Great Wall, and several other locations, and that he is looking forward to the experience. The UFC also announced that Johnny Walker will headline the event against Zhang Mingyang. In the co-main event, Brian Ortega will face former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling. Who do you have winning those fights? In more Shanghai news, Nolan King reported that Song Yadong and Rob Font will not fight at the event as previously rumored. With the main and co-main events already set, this is not surprising. Song Yadong, who is ranked 5th, is coming off a win over former champion Henry Cejudo and will likely be booked for another main event soon. Marcel Dorf also reported that Ray Tsuruya will face Namjul Tumendembril in the Road to UFC semi-finals on August 22nd. Tsuruya is coming off his first professional loss, which came by decision against Joshua Van. Tumendembril has not fought since November when he lost a split decision to Carlos Hernandez. It has also been reported that Muhammad Mokaf will face Steve Erceg at the July 26th UFC event in Abu Dhabi. Mokaf is looking to rebound after back-to-back losses, while Erceg is also coming off a defeat. Nolan King added that Davy Grant will fight Dean Blackshear on the same card. Grant earned a decision win in December, while Blackshear has won 3 straight. Which of these matchups are you most excited for? Now let us talk about what is next for Ilia Topuria after his UFC 317 win. Ilia Topuria may not be the biggest star yet, but after UFC 317 he is very close. Topuria won his second UFC title by knocking out Charles Oliveira in the first round, just as he predicted. Early moments suggested Oliveira's size could be an issue, but once the fight hit the ground, Topuria escaped danger and soon after landed a brutal combination to finish the fight. During his post-fight interview, Topuria referenced Arman Tsarukyan back issues at UFC 311 and then called out Paddy Pimblett. Pimblett entered the cage and exchanged words with Topuria before being shoved. Now fans are wondering if the UFC will book Topuria versus Pimblett. Pimblett is ranked 8th and coming off a big win over Michael Chandler. Will the UFC give him a title shot? Ilia Topuria later reacted to Paddy Pimblett entering the octagon during a backstage interview and went off on the situation.
Well, I don't know who the hell let him in there. That should have never happened. Let's start there. I was already back in my room, or that would have never happened. But that's not the fight that it just. Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
It shouldn't happen.
It was fun to watch.
Well, that's not really what we do. If it was fun to watch or not, it's just that shouldn't happen. Plus, he wins a second title in a higher division. It was a bad call by whoever the hell.
Dana White was not happy with the face-off between Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria at the end of UFC 317. Following the event, Dana addressed the situation during the post-fight press conference and made it clear he was not a fan of how things played out. White explained that moments like that are not always planned and do not necessarily mean a fight is being booked. He emphasized that just because fighters have a heated exchange inside the cage, it does not guarantee what comes next. Dana also suggested that fans should not read too much into the moment and that the UFC will decide the next steps when the time is right.
We've got history. You don't even need to sell that fight. It sells itself. 2 people who genuinely dislike each other. We don't really get that. We haven't seen that since Khabib and McGregor. Right? 2 people who actually hate each other, because I hate him. I wouldn't even want to finish him fast. I'd want to finish him with a minute left in the fight after I've elbowed him 700 times. You know what I mean? I'd want to disfigure him.
When he touched you, could you tell anything in that moment? Did you feel his strength? Was there anything when he actually made contact with you?
He didn't get a big push, he only done a little one, but he feels weak. You know what I mean? And as I say, he's there.
He was smaller than you, meaningfully. What do you weigh right now?
About 195.
You look.
So what is next for Ilia Topuria? Could another option be Islam Makhachev? After Makhachev faces Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight title, regardless of whether he wins the belt, many believe Topuria victory could make that matchup more appealing. In the past, Makhachev has argued that fighting Topuria would not add much to his legacy. However, with Topuria now holding the lightweight title, that stance could change. What do you think? Who do you want to see the new lightweight champion fight next? Following the fight, Conor McGregor reacted on X by congratulating Ilia Topuria on winning his old titles. McGregor joked about resting his balls on Paddy Pimblett's head and praised the fight as a good lightweight scrap. He added that the UFC feels back and highlighted the 3 knockouts in a row as very impressive. McGregor also gave respect to Charles Oliveira and said styles make fights, while calling Charles a legendary UFC fighter and wishing him well. Kamaru Usman also reacted online, saying he has been calling it and that Ilia is the real deal. Charles Oliveira later broke his silence following his loss to Ilia Topuria. Oliveira first posted on Instagram thanking fans for the love and energy and said the result was not what he wanted but was for the best. He then followed up on X with a brief apology. While Oliveira remains a dangerous and skilled fighter, he turns 36 later this year and has now lost 3 of his last 5 fights. Because of that, some believe his days as a championship contender may be coming to an end. A potential matchup with Beneil Dariush could make sense next, especially after Dariush defeated Renato Moicano on Saturday. Paddy Pimblett also sent a warning to Ilia Topuria following the knockout of Charles Oliveira. Pimblett immediately began calling Topuria out after the fight. During an appearance on ESPN, Paddy claimed he hates Ilia and said he does not even want to finish him quickly. Pimblett stated he wants to punish Topuria with elbows and disfigure his face. The rivalry between the two continues to heat up as fans wait to see if the UFC decides to book the matchup.
Well, it's a good step in the right direction.
And before we wrap things up, help us reach 200,000 subscribers here on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. We seriously almost never miss a day. Thanks for watching.